Welcome back to my channel. This is Jen at Will Budget for Coffee. My squeaky chair. I got a little bit of change here. This is all the money you're going to see. I am here to just talk. Where the heck have I been? It's a good question. I really thought I was going to make it through this without crying. So, this is the long story, the long version. Grab your coffee, grab your drink. Listen if you want to. There's not going to be any money in this video, just me. So, about 3 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's. I caught it way before any of the doctors. I have been fighting for his diagnosis. Everything's a fight in the American medical field. And so anyways, we've been living with that. And I, in the beginning, thought Parkinson's was just a physical ailment. His father had Parkinson's. His father's mother had Parkinson's, and it can go up the line. Before that, there was no diagnosis for, like his great-grandmother. Anyways, so about 3 years ago, I'm like, I think you might have Parkinson's. I looked at the symptoms of the physical symptoms, and then he shared with me that, yeah, he's been feeling really weird in his legs, like they're like lead, and those are things he just hadn't put together. So, we got diagnosed. And about 1.5 years ago, I started YouTube because I realized Parkinson's is bigger than I thought. I just kind of thought that, he'll have trouble walking at some point, and he'll lose bodily functions at some point. And he is 54, and that is a really early onset at 51. So, life expectancy is, let me say my husband's still alive. Life expectancy is, it varies, but usually you're diagnosed at 70. So they don't have really data for people diagnosed at 50. So you're fighting other battles at 70, right? And it can vary anywhere from 10 to 25 years. I mean, you can look, Michael J. Fox has had Parkinson's for years. Michael J. Fox also has Michael J. Fox money and has the best treatment available. So we have been to several neurologists, etc., and my husband was on a regimen of pills to keep the symptoms away, which it's done. So, and then I started noticing things that were cognitive based. He's not, and I'm just like, that's weird, or I thought we talked about that, or that's something you should know, and I noticed this about 2 years ago, and it's one of the reasons why I put my grandma in a home. My grandma has Alzheimer's, and I was taking care of her. She was living independently, stopping by 2-3 times a day. She lived just a couple miles from me. And it was starting to get not as safe for her. And we had brought in-home caregivers in to be with her during the day, so she's not out in the garden for 4 hours in the middle of the heat, or walking downstairs, or any of that. And she was not satisfied with that, but that was the only choice. So, but I started noticing some of the beginning signs that I had noticed in her and my husband. And then I started researching, and yes, there's a thing called Parkinson's. Parkinson's falls under the dementia umbrella. So I've gone through a long period of time where I've been like, is my husband gaslighting me? Or does he really not remember? Like, is he doing crazy things, or does he really not remember? And for instance, my husband has lost all sense of time. I would say, let's go to bed. And literally 45 minutes later, he's out of the bathroom. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I watched a couple TikToks. I'm like, it was 45 minutes. He's like, no. And things like that have happened. And then we had the house fire, which he was cooking, And I don't know. I don't know what happened. Nobody else was awake. But we moved after all that house fire rigmarole and 42 weeks, 36 weeks out of our house. We moved back in, and there were 4 incidents in the first 5 days where he turned on the wrong burner or left a burner on. We've put things in place. You know, here's your timer. You can't cook without your timer. Your timer has to be in your pocket. When it goes off, you cannot pause it. You have to go to the stove to turn off the timer to see what you have on the stove. You can't just think, oh, I already turned that off. I just forgot to turn off the timer. So there's enough memory for that. My husband works a job for the county that is intensive. It's Excel spreadsheets and 3 computer screens. And he's pretty high up. His salary was about $130,000 a year. So we went to the doctor recently, and I was telling him some of the things I was seeing. I first let my husband talk for almost 10 minutes to this doctor who deals with Parkinson's. He's a neurologist. His general practitioner has seen this, and he's like, he's not the same man he was a year ago. So I put my grandma in a home. I think I didn't finish that. Put my grandma in a home because I saw the same things coming in my husband, and I knew I couldn't take care of 2 people. And so it was time for grandma to go to somewhere where she was comfortable. So when we went to the neurologist this time, we've had a psych eval, not a psych, I can't remember what it's called. It's a 3-hour test where they test your cognitive ability, and a therapist does it, or a psychologist does it. And the first one, she said that he had, I can't remember. It was anxiety and depression, and that's why he wasn't functioning. But Parkinson's, the 2 of the top symptoms are anxiety and depression. Another one is fatigue. And so I was like, but she can't make the jump that that's Parkinson's. And so the next time we went, like a year and a half later, and she said he couldn't engage with the test, but that it wasn't Parkinson's. She's sure of that. And my husband's never had anxiety or depression to this level for sure, but she can't make the jump that that's the symptoms of the Parkinson's. And so I was explaining that to the neurologist, and he said, I hear what you're saying. So after I let my husband talk for 10 minutes, and honestly, he came to no point. Like, he did not complete a thought. He started stuttering. It's really hard for Parkinson's patients to maintain friendships because it takes a long time for them to talk because they stutter and they can't find the words. And I looked at the doctor. I said, so we're here for cognitive issues. He goes, ah. And so my husband had, by the general physician, already been put on FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act situation, where he was working from home 1 day a week. And honestly, he was napping, and sometimes he even napped through his whole lunch break. Like, he was supposed to nap on his lunch. That's why he was home, because he's so tired. So the neurologist said, well, he shouldn't be working. I'm like, okay, because I've been in fear for probably a good 8 months that he's just going to come home one day and say he was fired. Now, he had told me he has good insurance. He has long-term disability. This is what he said, that pays at 60%. And he has PERS, which is a program he works through the state, that pays 45%. And I'm like, there's no way you're getting 105% on disability. So there has to be a caveat somewhere, something. We're worried about health insurance, etc., etc. So the doctor said he shouldn't be working and wrote him a letter and put him on disability. And so my husband has been home since a couple days after Hawaii. husband's realized how bad it actually is. It has been a grieving process. There's so many facets to it. The retirement that we were looking forward to is gone. It's so much. So, there's 4 companies we're dealing with on the money side. There's 4 companies we're dealing with. We're dealing with the Family Paid Leave Oregon Act. We're dealing with PERS. We're dealing with Standard Insurance, and we're dealing with just like his HR, his benefits, and everybody says something a little bit different. The 60%, like we've been living off 95%. We could cut back everything and 60% will pay all the bills with what I was doing. No, it's not 60%. It's 60% of your income up to $1,991 a month before taxes. I'm like, what? Our house payment's over 18. Like, what? That's not 60%. That's nowhere near. And he's been paying into this for years as an insurance. And then we call PERS, and PERS is like, well, that should really be called a long-term disability loan, because as soon as we start paying, they want the money back for any months they've paid that we also paid. So it's not the 60 and the 45 together. It is 45 straight with no limit. That's a huge relief. That will almost pay the bills, I think. I don't have an exact number yet. So I started working more, too much, and because we're not having any money come in right now. So he sleeps, he gets up about 8 o'clock in the morning. He takes an hour and a half nap in the middle of the day, and he's going to bed at 9:30. He's very tired. Very tired. I can't explain the fatigue. Maybe if you've had chronic fatigue syndrome or an autoimmune disorder, you would know the kind of fatigue that he's experiencing. And then there's the cognitive issue of missing my husband who was, and grieving that. Stress aggravates Parkinson's, makes the decline go faster. So we've tried to eliminate all stress from him. That means I pretty much get it all. We're not getting a paycheck right now. I can tell you that he's panicking on the phone because he still is in the conversations, with his HR and stuff. And I'm like, I need to be there because I'm getting wrong numbers, wrong scenarios because of the cognitive decline part. And he's panicking. He's like, well, I can't not get a paycheck for 2 weeks while we wait for insurance to kick in. And I'm like, we're fine. And he looks at me and I'm like, no, we're going to be okay. And what a comfort it is to know that I have almost that 2 months of extra, plus the way I run my paycheck, we're already a month ahead. So before I touch the emergency fund. So the reason I've been saving for the cruise and the other little travel journeys is because I knew that that's probably all we were going to get. When we went to Peru, he got lost several times, and I cannot travel with him internationally, and we're not going to have the money and the time to travel in retirement. now that he's been put on disability, but I knew that travel would be short. He wants one more cruise. I told him I would take him to Alaska. He wants to do the train ride. And so, in the road trip, we had grand plans of traveling America. I want to see all 50 states. I have 34 seen. But we're doing things on a smaller scale while he has enough cognitive to enjoy them and to be present. So, on one hand, I'm in a panic to not spend money. And on the other hand, I'm in a panic that we have to create a memory while we can. So that's the long story. I've gone from retirement's going to be okay. The kids are moving out. We're going to have time to save. We're going to have time to beef up our retirement the next 10 years to holy crumb, we got to hold on till retirement kicks in. How much is insurance outside of work? Etc., etc., etc. So my whole entire budget's changed. I don't necessarily have money for savings challenges and Christmas. And I've got to squeeze blood from a turnip. I think if anyone can do it, it's a mom of 8. One of the reasons I started this YouTube channel that's grown very slowly is I kind of saw this coming to the future and hoping I could make a little money from the side. And this is my happy place. The first week and a half that I would come to sit at my desk to track anything or do my budget, I literally just tried not to panic. I am uneducated. I have spent my whole life at home with my kids and doing side hustles. I've worked since I was 12, Gen X strong. I've only had about 6 years where I didn't do a side hustle to earn something somewhere on top of homeschooling my kids and taking care of my house, etc., etc., etc. So I kind of think I should get a real job, as they put it. I can't work enough in a real job to make the money we need, so I would still have to side hustle. However, if it brought insurance and good benefits, it might be worth it. So these are all things I'm wading through at the moment, as well as missing the parts of my husband that are gone. And Parkinson's dementia's not like Alzheimer's. I almost want to say not as bad. Like they shouldn't ever forget who you are. Whereas Alzheimer's is a filthy, ugly disease. So, channel's going to look different going forward. A lot different. And I'm trying to rework my budget and hold on to my values and your emergency fund. I've said it before. Can never be too much. Man alive, once you hit that 1,000, you keep on saving. Once you hit that 5,000, you add to that. We're staring at 6 months of no income, besides what I earn. And DoorDash does not pay that much, people. Be kind to your delivery drivers. You probably don't use them. Everybody's going through something. Take the time to save $1 or $2. I'll talk to you later.